Ladies and gentlemen, the time is nigh. The crypt is open, the wall has dropped, and the portal is now fully engaged. Sorry, that was the best I could do. Welcome, everybody, to the Paranormal Portal. I'll be your host, Brent Thomas. Thank you all for coming. Thanks for being here. It's Saturday. You're in the weekend mode. I hope you guys are having an amazing weekend, whatever it is you're doing, and however it is you're doing it, as long as you're not getting hurt and, having a good time. So, as always, we got 2 full hours of fun here on deck for you, and we're ready to bring you into the portal. Just mind your hands and feet. Please keep your hands and feet within the car at all times. We can't be liable to any injuries or accidents that happen to ignore such advice. So be safe. Sheldon is with me tonight, ladies and gentlemen, my first branch of my individual family tree. And let's talk to him now. Welcome to the show, buddy.
Whoa, guest appearance is me. What? No way.
You're just a co-host. You're not a guest.
Oh, yeah. I just want to feel
Don't try to elevate yourself.
I like elevating myself. It gives me confidence.
Well, good. How you doing, though? Everything good?
Everything is great. Just chugging ahead with school and surviving the snowy winter,
Good. Well, good. Yeah, I was going to ask you, how is that frozen tundra of hell over there called Minnesota?
Oh, it keeps snowing every single week, it seems like. So
yeah, that's
we're getting fresh batches of snow, layer upon layer. Probably got 8, 9 layers of snow now. So we're good for winter now.
You're good. You ready for spring?
Yeah, I think we're ready for spring now.
Yeah, I am too. I think, and most of us are with you on that. I think, it was good. It's okay to warm up now. Let's have the whole spring melt and all that happen. But I'd have to feel a little bit of sadness for all of our friends and listeners in places like Australia and of course South Africa and New Zealand, where it would herald your fall and winter. And our hearts go out to you, but not that much.
Not as much as you want.
I love you all and everything, but come on, it's time to share. That's all I'm saying. So
I agree.
we've got a bunch to go through, and remember, folks, you can call in and be a part of the show. If you'd like, you can call in. The numbers are 720-923-0500. Again, 720-923-0500. And that'll get you right onto my call board over here, whereas if I'm paying attention, we'll be able to talk to you. If you have something paranormal that you'd like to discuss, by all means, feel free. But in case you don't call, I still got plenty of stuff for us to discuss. Got some cool stuff on the board tonight. Some really interesting tidbits of information. So that's what we like here on the portal. But I guess probably the first place to start is the news. What do you think, Sheldon?
Oh, that is the prime place to start.
It's the prime place. All right, we'll go with it.
Right.
It's prime news. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Paranormal Portal News Desk. And we got some great articles pulled up for you, and they are brought to you by unexplained-mysteries.com, which is a phenomenal site. I just love this site. They do a great job, so definitely stop over there, unexplained-mysteries.com, and support them. Before we go any further, though, I'd like to take a quick little segue and thanks tonight's sponsor, well, every night's sponsor of the Paranormal Portal, our good friends over at cryptidcoin.io. So let's take a look at what they got going on. And Cryptid Coin.io, ladies and gentlemen, is a brand new offering. It's a brand new cryptid currency, cryptocurrency. It's called Cryptid Coin. And the beauty of this is that it's actually benefiting the hearts of the cryptozoological research community, because one thing that separates the Cryptid Coin from all of the other cryptocurrencies is that they are keeping a large portion of the coinage that are available in trust. And they are going to be doing biannual grants to cryptozoological teams across the world. And that could be, some of which you may know or be in contact with online. And there's a grant process where, they would have to write an application for a grant and head over to cryptidcoin.io, which is on your screen on YouTube. But again, it's cryptid, CRYPTID, coin.io. And they can apply. And of course, if you want to invest in this, I can't give you a monetary advice or financial advice, but like anything else, I think a lot of people are investing in the cryptocurrency markets, and they can do amazing things. And so it might be worth your time to look into it. But if you're passionate about the cryptid research that's going on, whether that's Bigfoot, Dogman, or Nessie, or any number of other ones, the Mothman, then you just know that the investment helps the community, because they're awarding grants to teams to conduct their research, be much better funded, and really will push the needle forward as far as having a better shot at bringing actual documentation and evidence to substantiate the existence of these incredible beings. So again, ladies and gentlemen, cryptidcoin.io, what I've been told is they're going to push forward to possibly awarding the first grant this next month. So if you know of a team or you belong to a team of researchers, head over to cryptidcoin.io and submit a application to see if you could be awarded the grant. So at any rate, check it out. Let's get back to the news. All right, here we are. What's that?
Great opportunity.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's amazing. And special thanks to them for helping to sponsor the Paranormal Portal. It means a lot. It helps us a bunch. So let's get into the news, Sheldon. What do you think?
Always.
Well, the first one that we're going to get into tonight comes from unexplained-mysteries.com. And this is something I've heard rumblings about forever, and I'm not sure I'm not sure if this is incredibly valid or not. I just know I've heard about it forever, and this is something called the Doomsday Clock, and I think they look at a lot of different things and try to figure out when is, you know, the crumbling of our civilization going to happen based on any number of you know, factors. And so what it says is that the Doomsday Clock remains 100 seconds to midnight. And the symbolic clock has remained at the same ominous position now for 3 years in a row. Maintained by the Bureau of Atomic Scientists since 1947, the Doomsday Clock is a visual representation of how close the world is to disaster based on political, environmental, and technological threats such as nuclear annihilation and climate change. Back at the beginning of 2020, the clock's hands were moved to just 100 seconds to midnight, a particularly troubling position representative of the fragile state of the world. When it came to last year's update, the scientists decided to leave the hands where they are, and where they were, and that is once again exactly what has happened during this year's update as well. The Doomsday Clock is holding steady at 100 seconds to midnight, but steady is not good news, said Sharon Squassoni, co-chair of the Bulletin's Science and Security Board. In fact, it reflects the judgment of the board that we are stuck in a perilous moment, one that brings neither stability nor security. Among the positive contributing factors this year were restarting of talks with Iran, the extension of the New START arms control agreement, and the election of a U.S. administration willing to take on the threat of climate change and global warming seriously. You know, I really think that this is just another political mouthpiece, honestly, and I'm not trying to say I'm one way or the other, but if they're weighing political factors and looking at our political environment, it's a mess. And I don't know. It just sounds like it could be just
100 seconds.
Yeah, this 100-second thing. So it's like, what does that mean? I mean, we could have been at 100 seconds forever, like in 1965 during the Cuban Missile Crisis, and you know, so many times where things have been teetering on the edge, and you know, I mean, it's just a symbolic representation. It says the Doomsday Clock is not set by good intentions, but rather by evidence of action, or in this case, inaction, said Stanford University's Professor Scott Sagan. Well, again, these are people making. I mean, it's not a definitive thing. If it was 1 second to midnight, it wouldn't matter that much to me, because honestly, I don't think that this is a true oracle of things to come. It's just a bunch of people using some talking points and trying to make people worried. It's another fear mechanism, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Is the world in tough shape? For sure. You know, our societies are suffering right now. There's a lot of upheaval and you know, angst and division, and you know, people are just stressed. And so that's not good. But I don't think that this is an appropriate tool. It's like, no, we got to make them more scared. Let's make them more scared, and then they'll change things the way we think they should change them. And it's like, this isn't how change is brought about. You bring about change by giving people a better alternative, showing them why. You educate people. You can teach people more by showing them a positive rather than dangling a negative over their heads and going, oh, you better change. I don't know how long I can hold this. You know.
Plus, I mean, it's kind of pointless to have it kept at, like, you know, oh, we're almost there. We're almost at that point. Because now if anything happens, like if they just keep it at this point, anything happens, like, oh, we told you. It's like, well, I mean, you obviously weren't right 3 years ago. So, I mean, you can't really count it now.
Let's say the glass is half full, and hey, we're still at the 100 seconds for 3 years. Come on. It's not 50. The glass is half full, Sheldon.
That's right.
All right. Well, that's the first article up on board tonight. And, you know, again, think what you want to think. And maybe you believe that this is very serious. And I don't mean to trivialize the points they're making, but I don't think this is a Democrat or Republican thing. I just think it's a matter of, you know, the world's a mess. Yeah. And there's a lot of things going sideways right now that need attention. But, you know, I don't know. There again.
Well, I mean, here's the thing too. That's I just lost my train of thought. Continue. continue.
Okay. Well, thanks for the thing.
Literally mid-sentence, it died.
Here's the
It went
thing.
away.
It's just gone.
Yeah, it's what happened.
Mosquito.
Yep.
All right. Ooh, shiny. Never mind. All right. Okay, so that's the first one on the board tonight. Let's get to the next one. And this one is, again, from unexplained-mysteries.com. And it says... This is a weird story. This is one of those really weird stories. I don't know. What is that one show where they haul around that dead guy's body? A Weekend at Bernie's?
What?
Weekend at Bernie's, isn't that the one? I'm sure those of you in chat, some of you in chat will know what I'm talking about. This story is the real world equivalent to Weekend at Bernie's. And the story is, fraudsters take corpse into a post office to claim dead man's pension.
Oh, wow.
You know, it's so creepy and shocking that I have to laugh because there's nothing left. It's one of the strangest fraud attempts of recent years took place at a post office in Ireland this week. When two men walked into Hosey's post office in Carlow, Ireland on Friday morning, supporting an unconscious elderly gentleman. Staff members immediately thought that something was up. The fraudsters, who had put a jumper over the old man and a hat on his head, had lugged him up to the counter and requested to withdraw money from his pension. When the staff members asked about the well-being of the man, they were told that he was having a heart attack.
Oh, my God.
And that he'd be taken to the hospital after withdrawing the cash.
Oh, wow. Great time.
This is their best plan? This is the best plan they got? Unconvinced, a member of staff picked up the phone and called the emergency services, prompting the two men to drop the man to the floor and flee the premises. Wow, that is so tragically sad. When the ambulance crew arrived, they discovered that the man was dead. It later came to light that one of the men had previously attempted to extract money from the old man's pension earlier that same day, but wasn't able to do so without him being present. Oh, jeez. Wow, so they brought him. They literally brought the guy. Oh, dear God. Police are now attempting to track down the suspects while investigators are also working to determine exactly how long the elderly man had been dead. The deceased man was identified as Peadar, Peadar, Doyle, a man in his 70s who lived nearby. I was absolutely shocked to hear about what happened, said Ken Moonane, the mayor of Carlow. I can't believe anyone would do something like that. It beggars belief. I'm just shocked. Yeah, I think we all are. Wow. So the
There's
one of them.
nothing other than wow. It's just. The one thing I will say is when you're reading this, the one thing I kept thinking was I can't imagine how his family felt.
Oh yeah, I mean, wouldn't you?
Because that's something I would be infuriated.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's true. I mean, for God's sakes, this poor man's family must just be wanting to strangle those two. There's no way to make that a good idea. No way. I mean, there's no way that becomes okay. It's just so perverse to drag somebody's corpse in to try to get his money.
Only if you're desperate for drugs or something like that.
I mean, those guys must have been eating paint chips since they were toddlers or something, because that's just so not normal. I mean, that's not a place normal people get to. It's like
almost like it's paranormal.
No, it's not even paranormal. It's just
it's beyond it.
It's perverse. I mean, it's just so twisted. Oh my God. There you have it, folks. You never know what's going to pop up on the news here, but that one might be that's a whole new level of just dumb. Okay. Yeah, it's like Dumb and Dumber, right? Yeah.
It's 5 steps above that even.
Yeah, that's just, I don't know. Oh, I don't know when that could get to be an idea in your head. Like, well, I got another plan. Let's try this. He's
get high and watch the movie.
Is he okay? Well, he's having a heart attack, but we're gonna get this cash and take him to the hospital. No, say he's narcoleptic or something. No, I mean, I don't even want to try to make better. That's just, that's twisted. Yeah. That is so twisted. Takes all types, folks. That's all I'm going to say. The next one up on our newscast is this one is bizarre. I know that, of course, in China, it's a different world. There's a very totalitarian government at work, and it's not like they get to, have a real democratic process about stuff. But even pigeons in China are not safe from governmental overreach. And I give you pigeons in China subjected to cavity searches.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, cavity searches for pigeons, folks. Chinese security officials this week inspected 10,000 pigeons for signs of explosive devices. The bizarre probing coincided with China's National Day holiday celebrations, which have been overshadowed this year by terrorist attacks, pro-democracy protests in Hong Kong, and crackdowns coming into effect across the country. Authorities oversaw the inspection of 10,000 pigeons in the Yutang City Sports Center in western Beijing with the goal of identifying any suspicious devices that may have been placed inside them. Oh, dear God. Their wings, tail feathers, even their anuses must be carefully checked. Oh, no. Said one official. Once the security checks had been completed, the pigeons were loaded onto sealed vehicles and taken to Tiananmen Square, where another exhaustive check was carried out. Authorities eventually concluded the birds didn't pose a threat, and all 10,000 were released at once from the square as part of the National Day holiday celebrations. Oof. Yeah, you've got to be... yeah, I mean, I guess maybe that's a way to raise havoc, but even if you there was a way to try to put some kind of explosive device on a pigeon, it's not like you can drive them. You let them go and they would go wherever the hell pigeons go. Maybe they would fly off like after after all the trauma they were worth.
Is that a thing?
Yeah, you can train pigeons. I mean, there's several breeds, I guess, that will, go from point A to point B on command. Like, you can load little notes on them and stuff. And they've been used by, several people just for a type of correspondence or even passing intelligence. Pigeons have been used. Right. But I don't know if you can load any bombs onto them. I don't know how strong a flyer they are, but anyway, I guess if you anything is possible. What in the hell is going on? There it is. Okay.
The government's getting nervous.
Yeah, I guess so. They must be feeling the squeeze of a whole bunch of stuff. But yeah, pigeons, folks. Nothing is beyond the reach of overreach. All right, let's go to the next one here. I got to check the time here. How are we doing? Oh, we got 5 minutes. We're okay. All right, the next one up is from... This one is just from the really weird files, and this one's from 2014, folks. So we're going into the archives here now, but I don't even know what to say about this one. Let's just read it. It's again from unexplained-mysteries.com from their archives of news, and this is from the bizarre file. Burger designed to taste like human flesh.
Oh, come on. Come on.
A London...
That's not necessary.
I know it shouldn't be, but anyway, a London pop-up venture is offering consumers a chance to sample burgers with a rather unique taste. Who dialed that one in? I mean, who dialed that one in that goes, no, this doesn't taste anything like people. Let's add some more oregano or something. I mean, how did somebody dial that in? But anyway, adventurous diners have the opportunity to sample an unappetizingly titled human flesh burger as part of a one-time promotion to mark the launch of the 5th season of popular zombie-based TV series The Walking Dead.
Oh, no.
Oh, there you go. That's one way to promote it. I think they were more after the brains, weren't they? I don't know. The burgers were concocted through a collaboration between chef James Tomlinson of London Mess and macabre freelance creative food designer Miss Cakehead. I guess Miss Crackhead was busy.
Oh, no.
Rather than resorting to cannibalism themselves, The pair based the taste on their burgers on descriptions provided by real-life cannibals, such as explorer William Seabrook, who likened the taste of human flesh to good, fully developed veal, not young but not yet beef. The finished product, which will contain pork, veal, chicken, liver, and bone marrow, will be available for members of the public to taste in East London on September 30th. Well, what if you like it? Then what?
Oh, no.
What if somebody decides that's the best thing they ever ate, and all of a sudden you got Dahmers all over the place? Jesus, just no. That's not a good idea.
I'm not curious enough. I'm really not. I'm actually not curious.
No,
enough.
I that would be great diet motivation right there. Nope. If it tastes like people, I'm good. I'm gonna have the salad.
The only way to make me be vegan is if you were to throw that everywhere.
Yeah, that would do it, wouldn't it? That is just disturbing. All right, let's go to what do we got? 2 minutes? I got a couple more. Let's see, what is this one? Oh, that one's kind of twisted too. This one I wanted to read though. This is weird. The other one I don't care if we read or not, but this one is from 2014 as well. This is a weird thing from unexplained-mysteries.com. And I think I might know some people who also like this, but woman in China born without a cerebellum. Doctors have cerebellum, part of the brain.
Oh.
Doctors have identified a 24-year-old who appears to have been born been born with part of her brain missing. Damage to the brain can quickly prove fatal, but one woman in China appears to have gone through her whole life with a rather large and vital area of her brain missing completely. The 24-year-old had originally visited a clinic because she had been suffering from nausea and vertigo, but when doctors examined her and conducted an MRI scan of her brain, they were amazed to discover that her cerebellum, the part of the brain responsible for fine motor movements, wasn't there at all. She was one of a few people in the world to have ever been diagnosed with the condition, despite experiencing some mild impairments throughout her life, such as difficulties walking steadily and issues with pronouncing words. The woman had otherwise led a normal life with few ill effects. She'd even been married and had given birth to a child who was perfectly healthy. Due to the extreme rarity of the condition, there's no current medical explanation for how it occurs, nor how an individual can function relatively normal with such a large part of their brain missing. Well, I've known several. I mean, I'm not a doctor. I can't officially diagnose it, but I'm pretty sure. I've known several people that might not have had any brain.
I've really
they just had a stem. It's enough to drive the heartbeat and get them to work, and that's about it. I don't know, but there you have it, folks. Apparently it's possible to do just fine without parts of your brain. I don't know. Again, there's many people that have been injured in accidents and stuff that, like there's a guy that had a rod shot through his head and it ended up lodged there and they couldn't remove it. So he lived the rest of his life with this rod through his head. And apparently he was pretty much normal, even with that happening. How he lived through it, I don't know. That was amazing. But, it's just one of those things. There's the bell, folks. We're going to go to our break. We'll be right back in just a moment. right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back at it here on the Paranormal Portal. We're in half hour number 2. Over the break, I saw a comment. Miles says, we only use about 10% of our brain. Maybe it was a part that we don't use. Good points. I don't know. Again, but Aggravated Progressive says, once saw a pic of an Afghan with most of his head shot off. He survived. Wow. I don't know that I'd ever want to see that pic, but the first thing I thought of is, wonder how he finds a good pillow. What do you do? How do you find the right support when you're missing part of your head? I don't know. It's just how stupid my mind works. Sorry, folks. I don't know. It just comes to me. It's just,
there's that dark humor.
It's a gift. Yeah, I know, right? I can't be held responsible. All right. So, special thanks to Fourth Color for the donation before the show. Thank you. Well, as the show was just launching, and I appreciate that a bunch. Thank you very much. Let's see. And now for more paranormal, we'll go to Sheldon. Take it away, buddy.
All right. Well, today we have whatever's next.
Whatever's next. Okay. Well, thanks for that. Wow, that was a good hot potato right there. That was like, he send it right back to me. That was pretty good.
That's all I got right now.
All right. Well, I wanted to talk about, there's some cool articles that I've got pulled up. And again, remember, if you want to call in and be a part of the show, you can. 720-923-0500. Oh, is Portal Mom been in here?
Yeah, she wasn't here yet.
Okay. Just, hi, Portal Mom. I didn't get a chance to say hi to her earlier. But yeah, 720-923-0500 is the numbers for fun here on the portal. And if you call in, have something paranormal to discuss, we can certainly talk about it. It's kind of a open forum tonight. There's not one subject. So anything's fair game, really. But
everything's
fair game, meaning that there's no topics that we have to stick to. We have several topics of material pulled up that we're going to be going over anyway. So
everything's game. Yep.
Everything's game. Yeah. All right. I want to talk about this article from alienstar.net. And again, this is a newer site I've just run into, but they got a lot of great articles on here. And I was just looking through a few of them. And I found one. I was like, oh, I think I heard about this, but we should talk about it anyway. And this is mysterious Falcon Lake UFO incident. And let's get into that now. This is, again, the Falcon Lake UFO incident. Or UFO encounter incident, sorry. It says the Falcon Lake UFO encounter holds a unique position in paranormal history and among the thousands of UFO-related incidents that have been recorded throughout the years. What is it? Sorry. The Falcon Lake encounter is one of a small number of cases that document actual physical injuries as a result of a UFO-related experience. While the vast majority of UFO incidents are reported as strictly aerial sightings, the Falcon Lake encounter is one of a small number of cases that document actual physical injuries as the result of a UFO-related experience. On May 20th, 1967, an occurrence was alleged to have occurred at Falcon Lake in southwestern Manitoba, Canada. Stephen Michalak, a Winnipeg mechanic, had planned to spend his Victoria Day weekend prospecting for silver near Falcon Lake at White Shell Provincial Park. He was familiar with the region, having tried his hand at prospecting in different sections of White Shell previously, but he had lately been told of some interesting quartz veins near Falcon Lake that had prospective silver resources. Michalak arrived at Falcon Lake on May 19th, equipped with a game plan, and booked into a motel along the Trans-Canada Highway that evening, anxious to start prospecting the next morning. You know, I've done that too, by the way. Just when I moved up here, one of the things that I did for a summer or two was panning gold. And I only found a few flakes here and there, but I got to say, I really like it. It's fun. It's kind of exciting, and you end up doing a lot of work, but you don't feel like you're working so much. You know, it's really kind of a cool thing. Just thought I'd throw that in there. Like, hey, I've done that. Michalak left the motel at 5:30 a.m. on the 20th and went into the park's northern section to start digging. He had discovered a quartz vein beside a tiny creek by 9 a.m., and he kept digging until approximately 12 p.m. when he took a lunch break. The sound of many cackling geese apparently responded to some form of disturbance nearby, quickly shattered the serenity and quiet of his surroundings. Michalak raised his eyes to the sky and noticed two cigar-shaped things gently descending into the trees. Both objects looked to have a reddish color to them, and as they got closer, they took on a disc-like form rather than an oval or elongated shape. One of the two objects began to hover in mid-flight as Michalak watched from afar, while the other landed on a big flat rock around 160 feet distant from Michalak's viewing point. The UFO, which had been floating in midair, quickly moved westward and vanished behind a cloud cover. Before it vanished from view, Michalak saw that the craft's hue changed from red to gray. As Michalak shifted his focus back to the craft that had landed just a short distance away, he observed that its hue had similarly changed from a flaming red to a grayish tone that Michalak described as appearing like hot stainless steel. Michalak had been wearing goggles to protect his eyes from rock fragments while excavating, and they had also proved to be useful in shielding his eyes from the brilliant light emitted from the craft's many holes. Michalak estimated the object's diameter to be around 40 feet, with a dome top and multiple openings through which a brilliant purple light shone. There were no outward markings on the craft to suggest that it belonged to a commercial or military enterprise. Michalak also detected waves of warm air emanating from the vessel along with a sulfur-like odor. From his vantage point, he was able to sketch the item, and after about 15 minutes, he noted that a gateway or portal on the craft's side had been opened. Michalak scanned the area for as much information as he could, waiting for someone to emerge from the craft. Michalak decided to approach the item with caution, after waiting for almost half an hour in vain. He approached the open entryway gingerly, assuming it was an experimental U.S. military vehicle, and heard a pair of human-like voices coming from an unidentifiable language. While the speakers inside the vessel ceased speaking, he sought to approach them in English initially, and they did not respond directly to him, and he then asked, "Do you speak Russian?" In a cautious Russian tone, this too received no answer. Michalak then tried a few simple greetings in German, French, Ukrainian, and Italian, but they were all unsuccessful. He was able to see portions of the inside of the vessel via the doorway. At this time, he saw that the walls were around 18 to 20 inches thick and had a honeycomb-like architecture. There's actually a photo here. I suppose I should copy this and show it to our TFR audience who is there listening. All right, there we go. It says, he also spotted a maze-like pattern of numerous separate beams of light organized in horizontal and diagonal combinations on what looked to be some form of control panel. Following Michalak's attempts at greetings in multiple languages, the craft's door slammed shut with a motion akin to that of a camera shutter. So it's like Star Wars, when you see those doors go whoosh, they just open and close blindingly fast. Yeah. It's kind of that same thing, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. So with his gloved hand, he touched the craft and noted that it lacked any form of welds or welding. Instead of having a flawlessly smooth, polished, and extremely shiny surface. I don't understand that. So it didn't have welds instead of having, I guess it had a flawed, smooth, polished, and extremely shiny surface. Michalak then observed that his glove had scorched and melted despite the fact that he had just lightly touched the UFO. Michalak was positioned immediately in front of the grid-like exhaust vent after the vehicle abruptly altered its position in what felt like a fraction of a second. Michalak's shirt and undershirt caught fire as a burst of extremely hot air came from this vent. He yanked his clothing off as quickly as he could, but the explosion scorched his flesh. As the ship raced, Michalak felt a rush of air as it climbed and soared off into the skies. Burn marks in the precise grid-like form of the exhaust vent were subsequently discovered on his chest. Michalak returned to the location where he had left his possessions after the situation had passed, attempting to regain his composure. Along with the sulfur-like odor, the air had a thick odor comparable to burned electrical wire. When he peered down at his compass, he noticed that the needle was whizzing and whirling around crazily, but gradually got motionless after a few minutes, which would seem to indicate a strong electromagnetic field. Michalak began to feel sick to his stomach and developed a nasty headache. He returned to the landing place and found a fully smooth, round area of land. No stones or twigs, but a pile of collected material such as dirt, leaves, and pine needles on the circle's border. He began to break out in a cold sweat and grew increasingly nauseated, eventually vomiting, and Michalak gathered all his belongings and returned to the motel, vomiting many times along the way. Michalak attempted to enlist the assistance of a Royal Canadian Mounted Policeman, who happened to be passing by, but was unsuccessful because the officer refused to assist Michalak after accusing him of being inebriated. Michalak took a bus back to Winnipeg after returning to the hotel, where his son met him and drove him to the hospital. Michalak was subjected to radiation poisoning testing, but all the results were within normal limits. Michalak struggled with nausea and headaches for the following 7 days, losing a total of 22 pounds in the process. He finally regained his weight and gradually regained his health, but was determined to investigate the location of the encounter in order to learn more about what he had witnessed. On July 2nd, 1967, Michalak enlisted the assistance of the Canadian military, who formed a team of investigators to accompany him to the location. The investigators gathered multiple soil samples from the surrounding region, but were found to have a significant amounts of radium following laboratory investigation, posing a potential major health concern to the area. Investigators also discovered a 15-foot wide oval clearing on the surface of the rock where the plane had supposedly landed. What looked to be a powerful burst of air had blasted the moss and soil that had previously covered the rock to the clearing's perimeter. While some of the team's findings appeared to contradict Michalak's account, for example, the surrounding trees and flora showed little to no signs of disturbances or heat damage, there has been an ongoing suspicion that some of the site's evidence has been obfuscated or tampered with in order to assuage paranormal suspicions. Michalak's case was even taken before the Canadian House of Commons in November of 1967, but the Department of National Defense effectively stonewalled cabinet members who raised concerns about the Falcon Lake incident. Michalak died in 1999 at the age of 83. The Falcon Lake UFO experience is largely regarded as one of the most credible tales of a near contact with physical consequences. While the inquiries into the details of Michalak's narrative have sparked suspicion because of its paranormal claims, nothing has been found that entirely disproves his story. And that's where this picture is. This is his chest. This is the man, and here's the scorch marks. Those of you on TFR can check out the article that I posted in the comments there, or in the chat. But those of you on YouTube can see it on your screen. But yeah, there is looks like a vent pattern on his chest. That's pretty bizarre. He still has chest hair though. I mean, it didn't melt off his chest hair or anything. So it must have been very precise, points of contact. He did say his shirt had caught fire. And so I don't know, very, very unusual.
Yeah. The one thing that I find really interesting is he's talking about vents and how it was propelled heat. And that's, it seems like that's what he's saying. That's how it propelled the aircraft. But according to Bob Lazar, who allegedly worked with UFO when working at Area 51, he was saying how in his documentary that they're propelled by using a device that manipulates gravity in front of them that pulls it, and they're not moved by pushing power and propelling. They're moved by gravity while pulling.
Right, but that doesn't necessarily negate the whole heat variable, because whatever mechanism is at work, it's going to require an energy, and energy is produced through some means. So it's possible that while there isn't a standard type of propelling going on in terms of our understandings of like jet engines and and such, there is still I'm sure a huge requirement for an energy to be produced that's huge. So perhaps they have some sort of reactor on board which needs cooling, which needs to vent, which may result in a pattern like that on this guy. So it doesn't preclude that there's going to be heat there, but it's not a heat that is generated to produce thrust. You know?
Oh, I mean? I see what you're saying. Yeah. I took it as like I took it differently. That's all. Yeah. I see what you're saying though. That's a good point.
Yeah, and the fact that his compass was whirling would definitely, show that he was in an area of electromagnetic disturbance, a huge area of electromagnetic disturbance. So, because that would certainly screw up compasses, and it seemed to dissipate as the thing cleared. So it's like that finally, re-baselined, I guess, back to natural and normal.
And another thing too is that I just thought of this right now, is that people might say like, why would you stand in front of this thing when it's moving and all that? But I mean, that's kind of the same question people give with people who see Bigfoot sightings. Why'd you just stand there and not do anything? Or, this or that. It's like, well, they're probably in shock while they're standing there. It's not just like a casual stroll, and they're able to think freely. They're shocked, they're scared, they don't know what's going on. Their whole reality's been ripped apart.
Right. Yeah, exactly. It's like while you adjust to your world just getting tipped on its head, why don't you take a picture?
Yeah, come on.
Because everything just changed in a moment. Everything just shifted on top of its head. And so, all of a sudden you're supposed to have the presence of mind. And a lot of people in these situations are like, I knew I had a camera, but I didn't think of a camera while I was experiencing it, It's just
exactly.
That's the power of the shock that people experience in these situations where they're confronted with the impossible. So when you witness it, like one of my biggest lamentations about my seeing the flying saucer experience is that I had no way to take a photo. Like it was just through those binoculars. However, when I think back to the experience, camera never entered my mind. I never had the thought like, God, I wish I could get a picture of this. It was just like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. That was the only thing I was thinking. And the fact when I realized that they were hidden, like it was cloaked, I couldn't see it without the infrared night vision. Then I could see it, but in my normal spectrum of sight, I couldn't see it. So, it makes you wonder. But I can't remember, even if I had the ability, like, oh, I should take a picture, would I have done that? Would I have been, present enough at that moment to remember, hey, I got to get some photos or a video of this? I really wish to God that I could, because I would just love to be able to show what I saw. That to me would be the most incredible thing, to just go, hey folks, this is what I saw, and I got a video of it here, check it out. So
it's that fear of taking your eyes off of it too. Like you want to keep your eye, because it like with my UFO experience, it was like, my eyes were locked onto it. Like I didn't want to take my eyes off it, because I felt like if the moment I turn around or the moment I look down to get my phone out of my pocket and I look up, it's going to be gone. So I was like, I'm just going to,
right,
take it in.
Right. Yep, exactly. So, I don't know. It's a cool story though. That's a hell of an encounter story, and I think they did a great job on this site documenting it. It's one that I have heard before. I think I heard it on one of the paranormal shows on TV that talk about people's experiences and stuff, but you don't hear enough about it, because that's really an incredible experience. And it got as far as to where the military actually stonewalled the MPs, the ministers of parliament, that were trying to inquire about it. And so that in and of itself goes to show you that there was knowledge of an event that they didn't want people to know about, even though I don't think it was a government experiment. I don't think that at all. But I think they didn't want other people looking into this because they wanted to keep all the data for themselves. And so that's what I took from that. I don't know. It's crazy. It's really something.
Yeah.
But whatever this man experienced, it was, a hell of a thing.
What a great story.
Right. Yeah, I thought so too. This one's a weird one. We got 5 minutes. I don't really have time to get into this one because it's so freaking weird. I don't know what to make of it, but it just seems to me like this is way too strange. But we'll get into it on the other side. This is definitely a case of bizarre. And this would be, if it is indeed legitimate and isn't somebody's attempt to have some notoriety by doing stupid things, you'll understand more what I mean when we come back from the break, when we're into the next hour. We'll get into this one, but it's just really freaking weird. I did, for those of you that might be new to the show, on the first break that we just had, there's some footage of a UFO that I did capture. And I say UFO, not saying it's aliens, but it's just something I can't identify at all. And it definitely doesn't seem to be an actual airplane or commercial craft like we are, used to here. It was something different. And that is the part of the first break footage where you see the green. If you're on YouTube, you see it. It's the green circle, and it shows a very bright light anomaly moving through the sky. Well, I took that right out my back door. I mean, right outside of my house. And I live in the same area as where I saw the first saucer that I experienced. And they seem to be here. I don't know what they're doing. I don't know what the story is, but they seem to be present in this area because I saw the underside of a saucer go over me once in this same location. But again, I finally rigged up a kind of a GoPro knockoff that you get at Walmart. I rigged it up to sit in one of the eye holes of the night vision binoculars that I have. So that's why the footage is circle, is because it's actually coming through one of the eyepieces. And I'm looking through the other one, and that's why it wavers, because it's hard to aim with one eye, to get it right on. But that's my footage. That's right up here.
Give you credit for that one.
Well, I saw the initial craft over the trees, and then I got these. I went home and ordered a pair of the binoculars right away. I was like, I gotta have those. I gotta look a lot more, and I did look a lot more, and I saw a lot of weird light anomalies in the skies through the years, but I still didn't have a way to record it. But when I was here, and I caught the underside of the UFO going over, and it was a saucer again, but I could see the bottom of it really clear, and it looked like looking at a pizza going over you, because it had like the triangular segments to the circular shape. And I was like, wow. And it wasn't like they were, really close together. It was like there was a gap there for a reason. Like there was a bit of a gap between them for whatever reason. I don't know. I can't even guess at the mechanics of the thing. But I saw that go overhead, and I'm like, my God, I got to figure out a way to start recording this stuff. So that's what inspired me to, grab this knockoff of a GoPro that I had and wire it up to sit in one of the eyepieces so that I could start recording stuff. And then the first time that I went out with that, maybe it was the second time that I went outside with that GoPro, is when I captured the footage that you see on that first break. Paz Spazuzu says, yes, Brent, as you yourself know, unless you've seen/experienced something, there's no convincing of some people. Exactly. That's just it. So, seeing the saucer and seeing the saucer go overhead are two personal experiences. I can't share them with you other than to tell you, look, they happened. But I at least can share the one that shows what looks to be a saucer a little further in the distance, but very bright and glowing. And you can see it. You can see the stars that are in the background. It's way brighter than them. It's not a navigational lights on an airplane, because those only point ahead of the craft. And this craft is moving away from me at an angle, away from me. So normal aircraft doesn't have spotlights going all the way around them, illuminating the whole thing. So take it or leave it. But when you see that first break, and you, like I said, you just missed it. It was just the last one. But when you see that footage, that's my footage. I caught that out the back door here. So it's real. It's real stuff. It's real. Yep. And when I was still in Minnesota, you went outside with me and looked through those binoculars, didn't you?
Oh yeah. They're actually pretty cool. Yeah,
they are pretty cool. They're really pretty fantastic, but I don't think they focus quite as sharply as they should. Like, it's hard to get a really crystal clear focus on them just because of whatever. I mean, they're a consumer grade product, but we're going to go to the break. So after the hour break, we'll be right back and I'll talk about more of this weird paranormal stuff. Don't go away.
Play their games. Everybody loves to place their bets. They don't understand the price I paid. They don't care to comprehend. Trace the lines upon my body, dripping scars across my heart. Raging anger pours inside me, and their lies keep falling apart.
like those she's with. They're attracted to the one thing about her that is different from themselves. Her life force. It is very strong. It gives off its own illumination. It is a light that implies life and memory of love and home and earthly pleasures. Something they desperately desire, but can't have anymore. Right now, she's the closest thing to that.
Poltergeists are usually associated with an individual. Hauntings seem to be connected with an area. A house, usually.
Poltergeist disturbances are of fairly short duration, perhaps a couple of months. Hauntings can go on for years.
And then it was our number 2. Welcome back, folks. Hour number 2 is right here upon us. Can you believe it? It flies so fast. What shape was it? Could you tell? What shape was what? Ruger, are you talking about the footage that I took, or what do you mean? Ruger, you pinned me in something, and all right, let me know if you're talking about the both of the closer ones were saucer shaped. The one in the green footage that you'll see on the first break is actually, I think it might be a saucer shape, but it was focused as well as I could get it focused. It's just such a bright light that it's hard to tell. But it's some kind of shape, and it's bigger than way bigger than the stars behind it. You'll see the stars behind it as it goes across the screen. UFO. So the ones that I've seen have been saucer shaped. But now, again, let me just reiterate, they're not the traditional saucer shapes like you see in so many photos or representations of a saucer. It was like, and I'm demonstrating on the screen for those of you on YouTube, but it was like the two pie plates, the top one inverted facing down kind of thing, but they come over, well, just two plates, I guess, mostly, not really pie tins, but like two plates. But instead of coming together on the rim to form like a tip, there was a gap there, and there's a gap full of these rectangular shaped panels, and these panels were flashing in like a marquee pattern around and around the craft. You know, it was just like shoom, 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 and they were bright, like, you know, not blindingly bright, but they were lighting up. It's like, oh my God, that's why I couldn't miss it. It was like I could not have missed it because I used the binoculars to just pan around and look around and went above the tree, and it was like, boom, there it was. They weren't blindingly bright flashing, but they were definitely flashing. I'd have to have been a special kind of stupid not to see that. It was big. You know, it was in my field of view. It was huge. Not like mothership or anything, but it was like maybe about the diameter of the length of a school bus sitting above the tree there. And it was like, oh my God. And it just sat there, motionless, quiet, no sound whatsoever. And it didn't dawn on me right away, but eventually I realized, wait, I'm alone in this valley. I'm it. There's nobody living here around for miles. And if I'm here looking at them, they must be sitting up there looking at me. And that's when I really got uncomfortable. I didn't get scared, but I was like, oh, okay, this is as much as I need this to be. I don't need this to be any more real. I don't feel like I got her hankering for probing tonight, so I'm just going to head on inside, and I did. And I just paced for hours after that inside of this house, locked all the doors, shut all the blinds, and I'm peeking out every once in a while to see if it landed or anything like that is going on. But, you know, as far as I know, that was the end of the experience. But I have since seen them. It's a weird phenomena in the paranormal. It's like once you've seen something paranormal, the odds of you seeing other things paranormal just go up exponentially. Like I'd not seen anything like a UFO in all my life. I'd been looking for most of my life because I was fascinated by the idea and I had an open mind. I was a believer in the phenomena, but once I saw it, I became a knower, and there's a difference. And I've talked about that before, but It's just this, now nobody can take that from me. Before, you being a believer, you can have discussions and, and people can give you counterpoints and ideas, and, they may be valid, they may not, and they may be able to bring you away from it. But now that I've seen it, it's like, it's mine. I know nobody can tell me they're not real because I've seen it. And even though that may sound flaky, but maybe they were probing deer. Well, again, up in the mountains here, the deer don't like stick around people at all. It's not like a, corn-fed deer in the Midwest. Up around here, they get skittish as hell. So the fact that I was there, they probably weren't anywhere in the area because they're used to getting shot at up here a lot. So,
Android says also, once you see something paranormal, it makes you realize many other paranormal reports are likely true.
Well, yeah, and it does that for sure. I mean, like I've had experiences. The earliest one I can remember was when I was 14, and that was the growling up on the hill that I swear was a Bigfoot, but didn't see it. And then several ghostly experiences through the years, many of those. But this is, the UFO experiences didn't start until I was, what was I? I guess it was just about 8 years ago now, the first time I saw that saucer. So, I'm not a young man. So it took a long time to finally. What's that? Next
thing on your list for you to experience is Bigfoot now. And then Dogman, and then
no. I'm good. Like I said, I think I had a close contact with a Bigfoot anyway, and Dogman, that one makes me nervous because I don't know. I think that they could very easily be taking out people from time to time. I don't think that they actively do it, but I think if you see them, that's already something they don't like a whole bunch. So.
Here's a good question. Just one last question.
No, go ahead.
If you indulge me. All right. So out of the paranormal, like everything, like cryptids, ghostly encounters, every bit of the paranormal at this point that you have yet to like experience.
That I have yet to.
Well, yes. Okay. That you haven't yet. What would be another paranormal entity you would rather most likely experience next on your list, type of thing, if it were to happen?
I guess, honestly, if the Fae are real, I think the Fae would be pretty cool, or the little people might be cool as long as it's not the ones that hate us. Like if it was a house elf or something, that'd be pretty cool, or gnomes or whatever they call them, gnomes. Yeah, I think the little people is really fascinating to me. I find that incredibly fascinating and exciting to think that there's this hidden culture of beings that are smaller. It's not all these big gigantic ones. There's some tiny ones that are around. And I think that is an exciting prospect. But unfortunately, a lot of the little people don't like us much because I imagine they've had a pretty crappy track record with us. The whole, hey, what's that? I don't know. Let's shoot it. It's a real common mentality, and so I imagine they've been harassed quite a while in their experience with most people. So I don't know, but yeah, I guess it'd be probably the little people or the Fae if those are if they are indeed real, and I think they are. I think that all of these things are real, and again, they might not be native to our realm, but they can get here. They seem to show up every once in a while. So whatever that means, I don't pretend to know, but yeah, that's the one I think is interesting. Paz says if they are, then it's probably bad folks they're taking out, is my gut feeling. I hope so. I hope that they're discriminating in their consuming of people. Like, yeah, Dogman only go after the evil one, so that'd be great. They should head over to some never mind. I was gonna go kind of political there, but
you can fill in the blanks.
Yeah, well, there's corruption everywhere. Wouldn't mind seeing some people chewed up a little. I did say just chewed. I didn't say eaten or killed. But
yeah.
All right, let's go to this weird article that I found. And again, this is from Alien Star as well. It's kind of a neat site. Again, alienstar.net. Check it out. They were the ones that did that last report we just read, and I thought they did a phenomenal job. And so I would definitely encourage you to check out this site if you're looking for another source of some pretty great articles and great insights into phenomena. But this is a weird one. It's actually coming from Indonesia, believe it or not. And this is A metal wire grows out of a woman's body. Very strange case. I'm going to put a link to this over in TFR for those that may want to read along or just check out the images, because there are some X-rays that are being shown on here too. If you don't want to wait and check out the article, you can certainly check out the link on tfrlive.com/chat. If you go over there and get a chat name and password, you can check it out there. I'm going to throw the link over there now. But otherwise, if you're hearing my voice and you're listening on iHeart, TuneIn, or TalkStream Live, you can head over to youtube.com/paranormal portal and you can see the show live as it's happening right now if you're listening on Saturday night, what is the date? Because it's January 29th. God, it's 29th already. So yeah. A metal wire grows out of a woman's body. Very strange. This is from July 31st of 2020. It says, back in 2008, the strange new discovery was made in the city of Sangatta, East Kalimantan, Indonesia, as a woman that goes by the name of Nur Saida reported having metallic wires coming out of her chest and abdomen ever since her 40th birthday came about. This is already quite a painful to imagine, but what's even more shocking about it is that it's not the first time this happened to the woman to begin with. I don't know. That's very, very strange. Of course, there's images. If you're sensitive, just close your eyes. If you're on YouTube, this is not pleasant to look at. But she reported having felt extreme pain or back pain back in 1991, too, as she saw what appeared to be wires growing out of her own skin. Ever since they fell off, though, a week later, she managed to forgot about it until they started growing yet again. Her sisters tried to cut the wires, but it wouldn't work for long, as they would just regrow and regenerate practically overnight. Nobody knows what the cause of this could be, as these 10 to 20 centimeter long metal wires continue to grow out of her abdomen to this very day. How in the hell does that work? The doctors even found proof of over 40 of them coming directly out of her skin for no discernible reason whatsoever. The general consensus is that this is a very rare genetic or mental illness. I don't think mental illness causes you to sprout wire.
Unless you're eating them.
No, I don't care what you're eating. You're not going to be sprouting wires out of your abdomen. Unless you've consumed them and they're poking through your stomach walls. That's, I guess, a possibility. But to this day, nobody knows how to cure it or make it stop without causing a lot of pain for the woman in the process. This is definitely a strange case, to say the least. Perhaps it is a test gone wrong by the aliens. Here is the video of the local news channel, which presents the strange case, even though it's not in English. Well, we're not going to watch that, just because. But here's the thing. I don't know if there's x-rays showing what appears to be the wires that are existing under a woman's skin. And is it possible, as far as mental illness, I guess it's
all in her digestive tract areas.
Yeah. I mean, there's of course the stomach over here and the intestines and such. Unless she has something wrong mentally with her, that she's jamming these wires into her skin. Is there some kind of psychosis that induces a person to, because these are all in soft areas. It's not like it's coming from, like her arm or something like that. It seems to be coming from very soft tissue areas. Very dangerous though, because if you puncture your intestine, you can die. I don't know.
Oh, yeah.
So I guess maybe that's what they mean by the mental illness. Is she self-inflicting and then going, hey, what's going on? I've got these wires growing out of me. I'm really strange. And in that being the result of some need for attention or something. I don't know. I guess that's...
What's that called?
Sadomasochism, I guess, to a degree. Like you just want to... You hurt yourself for whatever reasons. I don't know. I don't know what the name would be clinically, but yeah, it's absolutely terrifying to think. I don't know. But then again, there's circus acts where people hammer nails into their skulls and stuff. I mean, and they legitimately do. There's something to do with their pain receptors that really doesn't hurt them. And there's also people that jam wires through their arms and stuff all the way through. And it's not illusory. It's just, and there's religious practices that that advocate that. I think there's some, I don't know if it's yogic necessarily, but there's some, you know what I mean though, where it's like mind over matter is basically the idea. And certainly Indonesia,
you're right.
Indonesia has some practices with that, with a martial art called pencak silat, which is their form of kung fu or taekwondo or karate, whatever you want to say. But a lot of that is mind over matter, and they'll, do things that most normal people would never do, just to show how strong their mind is. And I don't know. I'm not sure what's going on here, but that's really
She's
disturbing.
doing her best to try that.
Well, apparently she succeeded. I don't know. If it is, I just can't imagine a body producing metallic wires. I don't know how that would happen. We didn't.
As far as I know, we should not be able to.
Yeah, I mean, we can't usually grow metal. Even if you ate a lot of zinc and iron and stuff, you still wouldn't be sprouting metal. So I don't know how that works, but it's a strange thing. I just thought it was really bizarre. I guess we lost a couple on TFR. Wonder why. This must have been more disturbing than they were ready to talk about. So
thank you so much, Maggie.
Well, what did Maggie do?
$5 donation.
Woo. Thank you, Maggie. I don't have the chat up. I couldn't see. Woo. Where is that? It still hasn't came up on my screen.
Slow.
Yeah, it is. Weird. Huh. Maybe she gave it to you. Oh, there it is. It just popped up. Thank you, Maggie. Oh. Very sweet. I appreciate it.
That was to me, right, Maggie?
Give Maggie the clap. Yeah, jeez. Thanks, Brent. Good catch on that one. Yeah. Well, I think it's interesting. It's very interesting. It's really disturbing, though, too. So I don't pretend it's necessarily a real legitimate thing, but it's weird. It's definitely weird. Where are we here? Oh, yeah, that one we covered. That's done. This one's done. Close that. All right, now I want to get to a Phantoms and Monsters article here. We got about 8 minutes, and then we're going to get into a Brent Swancer article or two on the other side. There's a couple of good ones, but I wanted to get to this Phantoms and Monsters story from January 22nd, 2022. Again, special thanks to Lon Strickler of Phantoms and Monsters. And Lon is a great guy. He's been a guest on the show a few times now, and he has the Phantoms and Monsters site, which is on your screen. I wanted to do shout-outs quick, too.
Let's do that.
Let's do the shout-outs quick. If you want to shout out on YouTube, definitely type something in the chat there, because that populates my list of participants. But over on TFR, we've got Bam, 420's there, Gemini's over there, and great guest. There was Nightshade over there, too. Nightshade earlier said, hope all is well with you and yours. We have a new moon coming up on the first of the week. Take care. Yeah. I don't know what it is with new moons. Don't bother me as much. It's the full moons that seem to really affect me. So thank you for that, Nightshade. But Nightshade is since retired for the evening, it looks like. So, but in TFR or in YouTube, who's there? Let's take a look. Let's take a peek at the participants list. Looks like Aggravated Progressive is there. Android is there. Brooks is there. Dan Dawson's there. Digger Dog is there. Ethan Steele. GG. Gemgwin is in there. Gemini Moon. Maggie M10. Pazuzu's in there. Oh, somebody just popped in. Who popped in? David Hadesheimer. Okay, good to see you, David. Thank you. Pazuzu. Rachel gets it right. Ruger Ridge. Sandra Piper. Scott Morian is in there. And the Politically Incorrect. Very cool. The Politically Incorrect, that's a new name. Great to meet you. Thanks for stopping in, unless it isn't a new name and you've been here a bunch, and I'm sorry I've missed you up until now, but Tracy Gale is also here. So Elise Goff just came in. Hi, Elise. Good to see you. Good to see you. And I think that's everybody for now that is chatting. There's many more that are watching, but a lot of people just like to hang out and just listen. I actually got an email.
Got nice voices.
What was that? Your phone?
Yeah, I didn't realize that Mike could pick that up. Let's change that right now.
I was going to say, I before we read this article from Lon Strickler, I got some people that listen to the shows. Apparently, there's some type of people that like to just listen as they go to sleep. I've gotten emails from people that have fallen asleep listening to the show that they had bad dreams because they were like subconsciously hearing the things we're talking about. And then they started to manifest dreams about them. And another guy kept chewing me out because he was so mad about the song I used on the first break, that dubstep song that I made. He's like, I can't even relax with that crap music you got on there. I'm trying to fall asleep. It's like, really? I'm not sure.
I like that song.
No, I like it too, but he was all pissed because he's trying to relax and go to sleep, and then all of a sudden, and it's knocking him out of his sleep state. So he was literally mad. Like, you got to get rid of that song. Change it. Like, well,
yeah, okay.
Sorry if my bedtime show isn't working out for you. I thought that was funny that he really got mad. I wonder if I have time for this. I think we do. Yeah, we have time for this. This is from Lon Strickler. Phantoms and Monsters. Hikers ordeal in Oregon wilderness. Whistles, screams, and SUVs. It says, 2 couples are hiking and camping near Falls City, Oregon. The witness recalls hearing whistling in the morning and then later human screams for help. It says, first off, I'm very nervous sharing this experience, and I would appreciate as much confidentiality and anonymity as possible. I'm not sure if I would classify it as paranormal, but it was definitely abnormal to me and very creepy. I'm mostly curious if anyone else has had similar experiences in the area and feel almost compelled to share my story to someone so someone else can put the pieces together and find out if or what nefarious happenings are going on out in the forests of Oregon. It was summer of 2020, and my brother and his girlfriend had convinced my boyfriend and I to go out camping for a night. My brother was really proud of this new area of land that he had found and was super eager to put it to use. The campsite was about 15 miles up a steep logging road above the very rural town of Falls City, Oregon, and then a good 30-minute hike deeper in and off the road. I've been camping off the beaten path plenty in my life, but this really is out in the middle of nowhere. I don't think we saw a single car or other person the whole way out there. The day went well, and our night was uneventful. I awoke the next morning before dawn to whistling. There were 2 distinct whistles, and they seemed to be going back and forth, signaling or communicating with each other. At first, I thought it was just birds, but as I laid there and listening, I became less sure of that and started to wonder if there weren't people out there with us. It weirded me out, but once everyone was awake and breakfast started, it moved into the back of my mind. It was just birds, I assured myself. After breakfast, we were sitting around the fire when we started to hear yelling in the distance, followed by what sounded like a pack of excited hunting dogs. As we listened, the yelling intensified as well as the barking, and I start to be able to make out the yelling. The voice was a young man, and I swear I heard him scream, "Help me!" Until that point, me and my brother had been looking at each other, both tuned in, and I tell him he should go check it out. He walked down to a clearing in the path where we had hiked in on and hollered hello a few times. All the noise immediately stopped and never started again. We packed up and left a few hours later. On that steep logging road back, we passed at least 5 cars that were headed in the direction we were coming from, deep into the forest. The road is very narrow, so you get a good look at who's on the road with you. The cars were all luxury model SUVs and very clean. Not what you would expect out in that area at all. The people inside weren't unfriendly, but it did seem to me that they all had a slight look of surprise on their faces at seeing us out there. I also have to mention none of them were dressed for camping or hunting or shooting, with most of the women wearing jewelry dressed more for work or church. The whole ordeal left me feeling very spooked. I've thought a lot about what could have been going on, maybe just illegal hunting, I don't know. My brother has since been told recreation is not allowed in the area. I'm unsure of who he heard this from, but none of us go out there anymore. Ooh, that's way creepy.
That's scary.
That's really creepy. Is there some secret society operating out there? They're doing their own version of a purge or whatever?
Oh, I mean,
Ew.
never know what happens where there are no eyes. You know.
Yeah, exactly. Where there's no people to. I mean, there's what's that old saying? There's no crime if no one sees it.
Yeah.
Something like that. Yeah, that's creepy. That's double creepy. So I don't know what it is either, folks. But again, definitely support Phantoms and Monsters and check out Lon on Arcane Radio, and you can find him online on Facebook. He's always on his Facebook posting stuff, so you can get in touch with him there. Good guy, very good guy. But
it's already the third break. I can't believe it.
I know. We're heading to the third break now, ladies and gentlemen. So don't go away. Just a couple more minutes. We'll be right back with some craziness from Brent Swancer. We'll be right back.
Inception.
right, folks, this is it. We're in the final stretch. The home stretch. The last show of the week. Can you believe it, Sheldon?
Never can.
Never can. Me either. Goes so fast. But let's check it out. And Rachel says the Bigfoot horror movie Exists is streaming free on YouTube right now, only with a couple of quick commercial breaks. Very cool. I want to check that out. I think it's based on some actual reports, if I'm remembering correctly. I don't know if it is for sure or not, but I will definitely look into it, because
from that other story, by the way, I'm so sorry.
Which one?
Okay.
Which
that
one?
Other story.
Which one, Captain Random?
Sorry, it just hit me too. That's why. Sorry.
Okay.
So
Go ahead.
yeah, the last story with the noises and the SUVs and all that.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Whistling and whatnot. The first thing I thought of when I heard the whistling and the all those different noises is the fact that there have been reports of Bigfoot mimicking noise. Humans
That's true.
The experience through there.
There have been.
So
and it's hard to know. But it's anybody's guess what's going on there.
Hard to say. Yeah.
It is. It's hard to say. And again, it's a report. Is it factual? It's kind of a leap of faith anytime you read some reports, because you just don't know. And there's very little that Lon can do in order of corroborating such a thing, because it's only an eyewitness testimony. And there's probably no way he will get a chance to go check out the location and such. But anyway, it's recorded for posterity, and maybe there's other people that have experienced similar kinds of phenomena. Maybe it's a residual experience from something that happened in that area. Who knows? Anybody's guess. But
true.
Anyway, let's check out this article that I pulled up for you guys from Mr. Brent Swancer. And this one you should like, Sheldon. I believe you should like this one, because it has to do with the Beatles.
Beatles?
The Beatles, yeah.
Okay, all right.
All right, so here we go. You got your attention?
Yeah, I'm
all right.
ready.
And for any of you Beatles fans out there, you might enjoy this. And if you're not Beatles fans, at least you got to respect their work, because, of course, they were iconic figures in our modern music sound. They were instrumental in bringing the music industry to its current form, which maybe they would be ashamed of. But, when you think of WAP and stuff like that, they're probably going, oh, God, really?
Oh, God.
So, I don't know. But anyway, let's check out this article from Mr. Brent Swancer, our good friend who writes articles about the paranormal, and they are featured on mysteriousniverse.org, which is a phenomenal site. Check it out. Any of the sites that we mention and use on the show, please check them out. And, a lot of these sites are doing it on their own blood, sweat, and tears, their own labor, their own efforts, and, they rely on people visiting to gather revenue in order to sustain themselves, usually by ad placements. So definitely visit all these sites if you can. It would mean a lot to me, because I love this community. I love this community of people writing these articles and people researching this stuff so that I don't have to. I just got to find good stuff to read. So,
and if you're on YouTube and you haven't liked, we would greatly appreciate it, because it helps us out.
And if you're not subscribed, like and subscribe. Yeah. Ring the bell. The drill.
The combo,
Okay, let's get going on this article, because Brent Swancer is an amazing writer, but his articles are sometimes extensive because he doesn't just write half-ass. He does a lot of research. So let's get into this. This is an article from Mysterious Universe. Again, if you want to connect with Brent Swancer outside of that, get to know the guy. He's an amazing guy, and his site is on Facebook. It's Dark League Paranormal, and it's a great site. A great friendly group of people with some fantastic discussions. And don't forget the Paranormal Portal radio site on Facebook, as well as the Paranormal Portal fans. Those are also great Facebook sites, since we're talking about Facebook sites. All right, here's the article. It is The Time a Guy Stole a New Beatles Album from a Parallel Dimension. This is by Brent Swancer as of January 27th, 2022. It's a new article. One idea about the nature of our universe is that has been gathering more and more serious consideration and prominence in recent times is that of what is often called the multiverse. That there are more than one reality and universe. The basic premise is that there is more than one universe, by some estimation limitless ones, all existing side by side in an infinite, countless array of different realities. One idea is that many of these realities nearly mirror our own, but with just small differences and variations between them, perhaps with infinite versions of past events and limitless versions of you. If it was all once a very science fiction idea, but the theory that this may be has so come to be taken more seriously in the modern age, with some great thinkers out there contemplating the idea that this could be so. What if there are other variations of you out there, or varying timelines of the historic events we know? Unfortunately, there's no way to be sure to know if any of this is true, and it all remains in the limbo of pure speculation and thought experiments. But one odd person has claimed to have stepped into an alternate reality in which the Beatles never broke up, and not only that, he managed to snag a copy of their latest album. Wow. The world-famous rock band known as the Beatles perhaps needs no introduction. Formed in Liverpool, England in 1960 and made up of the musicians John Lennon, Paul McCartney, George Harrison, and Ringo Starr. They would start from humble beginnings, but their innovative sound and style launched them into the stratosphere. And by 1964, they were an international sensation. Their popularity would quickly bloom, and they would go on to become perhaps one of the most influential bands of all time, as well as the best-selling music act of all time, hold the record for most number one albums on the UK Albums Chart and the most number one hits on the Billboard Hot 100, and at one point, they seemed nigh unstoppable. In addition to their music, they were known for revolutionizing many aspects of the music industry, including recording, with them helping to make the record album the dominant form of music consumption, artistic presentation, and songwriting, and they were a driving force in the 1960s counterculture. Although they broke up in 1970, their legacy has continued to reverberate through the music industry and pop culture to this day. Their large catalog of songs, beloved all over the world, and with them still regularly topping lists of the greatest artists in history, many people wanted the Beatles back, and it seems that at least in some alternate reality, they got their wish. The bizarre story begins with a man from Livermore, California, who calls himself James Richards. On September 9th, 2009, at around 2 p.m., Richard claims that he had been driving home with his dog after visiting a friend, and that on the way he had decided to take a detour through a scenic drive in an area called Del Puerto Canyon, just west of the town of Turlock. It was, for the most part, a pretty uneventful drive at first, and as they meandered through the rugged landscape, Richard's dog apparently started to whine to be let out of the car, as if she needed to relieve herself. Well, he stopped the car and let her out to do her business, and at some point she apparently started chasing a rabbit out into the wilds. Gotta love your dogs. Richard claims to have given chase, and at some point he tripped on a rabbit hole and fell down, hitting his head and being knocked unconscious in the process. And this is where things would take a turn for the decidedly bizarre. Richards claims that he then blacked out, and when he woke up, he was in a room with furniture and some electronics within it, and that there had been placed upon his head bandages, but put there by some unknown person. He was particularly startled by the sound of traffic outside, which in no way matched up to the secluded rural area in which he had been, where he had fallen, where he had not passed any other cars at all. In one corner of the room sat an unusual and sophisticated-looking electronic machine, the likes of which he had never seen, and the purpose of which he could not fathom. As he struggled to take in all of this new information and try to process where he was, the door then opened, and Richard's dog purportedly rushed in to give him a warm, excited welcome, as if he had been gone for a while. As Richards hugged and played with his beloved dog, still wondering just where in the world he was, he noticed a man standing in the doorway watching him. The stranger was described by Richards as being about 6 feet tall, had a medium long black hair, was dressed casually nice, but gave me a greasy vibe. If you know what I mean, the strange man introduced himself as Jonas and claimed to have found the unconscious Richards lying in a field with his dog barking nearby. The weird thing was, according to Jonas, the field was only about 20 feet from the room they were now in, which was preposterous considering Richards had been in a totally uninhabited and remote area at the time. When Richards objected to this idea and insisted that he had fallen and been knocked out in an area with no houses around, the mysterious Jonas gestured to the machine in the corner of the room and came up with a truly weird story indeed. He admitted that he was in fact an interdimensional traveler using his strange machine to jump around to parallel universes, and that he had, by chance, come across Richards lying unconscious upon the ground. Alone and with nobody to help, Jonas claimed to have taken it upon himself to pull Richards into a portal back to his own dimension, something which he said he never normally did, but had made an exception in this case. As the conversation dragged on, things would become weirder. Jonas claimed that in his world, such interdimensional travel machines, or parallel time machines, or travel machines rather, as he liked to call them, were readily available, but that they were considered to be incredibly dangerous to use, and with many who tried never coming back to tell the tale. He also explained that there was an infinite number of Earths and that hopping about between them was a harrowing task at best, holding the risks of a portal opening from a large height underwater into fire or countless other unpredictable factors, their operation being more an art than science. This had apparently ended with the government coming up with a list of parallel worlds that were considered safe for travel, many of which were sparsely inhabited or untouched by mankind. Jonas himself claimed to be involved with stalking out new uncharted dimensions into which common people would travel without danger, when he had come across the world in which he had found Richards lying on the ground unconscious. Interesting. The fascinated Richards began a conversation with Jonas about all of the intricacies of the world he had come from and the one he had found himself in, the two of them trying to come up with an understanding of the similarities and differences between the two realities and covering a wide range of topics, including food, pop culture, and technology. And it was then that the topic turned to music, and when the great band The Beatles got brought up, Jonas said that his brother had just gotten back from their concert recently, when an incredulous Richards claimed that they had long ago broken up and that John and George had died. Jonas insisted that in this world, they were still alive and well and making music. As evidence, Jonas apparently guided Richards into a room with strangely designed speakers and a wealth of Beatles photos, merchandise, and outputs that had never existed in the real world that he was familiar with. While many of the songs were exactly the same, there were also some that had some differences, and still others that had never been released or made in the world from which Richards had come from. Songs that he was hearing for the first time. It all seemed to be bizarre, but in good fun, until Richards suggested that he take a recording from one of these never-made Beatles songs back with him to his own dimension, to which Jonas took on a rather somber and sinister demeanor. He allegedly made it very clear that none of this was to go back, explaining, no, you are not to take anything with you back, not to your world. No pictures, no souvenirs, no tapes, nothing. It wasn't explicitly explained why it was so shunned to take any of this stuff, but Jonas was so serious and insistent about it that Richards breathlessly agreed. However, he couldn't help himself. When Jonas was distracted by someone coming to visit, he allegedly covertly stuffed one of the tapes into his pocket. When Jonas returned, they apparently had something to eat, with more differences between the realities making themselves known, such as purple ketchup, various foods with different names, and then Richards expressed his desire to be getting home. They went back into the room with the machine and went through some sort of portal, and going through it purportedly had the sensation of getting wet and staying dry at the same time, which seemingly freaked out the dog a great deal. When Richards returned, he found out that there was a burn mark on the ground where the portal had appeared, and that the tape he had stolen would not play even when he brought a new tape player to play it with. All he could ascertain was that the title of the album was Everyday Chemistry. He would go on to try to reproduce some of the songs that he had heard from memory, And although it all sounds reminiscent of the Beatles, it's not exactly evidence of anything other than someone copying the Beatles' signature sound. Considering the completely bonkers nature of the story and the fact that the tape can't be played back, it seems likely that this is a hoax or a delusion conjured up by the person's mind. But what if he's telling the truth? If the Beatles had continued making music as they had done in this alleged alternate reality, what sorts of masterpieces would they have come up with? In the end, it all seems to be just a wild tale, but nevertheless, whether any of this was real or not, or whether there really are parallel universes in which the Beatles rock on or not, it sure makes one wonder, what was on that tape? Good question.
That is the big question.
It is. Yeah, that's freaky.
That did happen.
What if? Well, you gotta think, if it was on a cassette tape, is what I'm assuming when he says tape, then that's a magnetic media, and if you passed it over a magnet, it wouldn't play anywhere. I mean, it's just one of those things. So I'm sure going through a dimensional portal might have some kind of charge to it.
Yeah, he should have brought back the purple ketchup.
Check out this crap. Yeah, I don't know, maybe. Yeah, but it's a strange story, and it's not one I've heard before. I gotta give Brent Swancer a lot of credit because he pulls up stuff, and believe me, I'm reading this stuff all the time. I'm researching the paranormal all the time, but I can't think of another reader that I've learned more from than just his articles. It's just, or another writer rather that I've learned more from. He just comes up with these obscure stories from. And like there's one story I like to tell. I was researching this story came out of Malaysia about these kids out playing in the jungle, and they saw this little spaceship, and from it, it landed, and out of it came these guys, and they were little, few inch tall aliens, but they were doing whatever they were doing, and they climbed up a tree and hooked up a sensor type thing and were doing their stuff, and the kids thought, wow, that's really cool. So the kids decided to go over and pick them up, and of course the aliens didn't like that much and started shooting the kids with blasters, and it was like getting like pin cushion, like having a little pin jabbed into you. So they weren't really injured, but it was the story that made headlines and was kind of a big thing back in the day. And I researched that, and I couldn't find much of anything about it other than that little blurb. It's like, well, this is what I could find. But Brent Swancer wrote an article after that time, or that I hadn't read before, and he had about a dozen other experiences that he was able to find that were similar, of people in Asia seeing these diminutive spacecraft, and how people had witnessed these little inhabitants. So it's kind of like, what is it, the beginning of one of those movies? I can't remember which one. Maybe it was one of the Men in Black or something, but like they show this armada coming in and stuff, and then all of a sudden the dog just
I think that was Men in Black. Yep,
might have been Men in Black, but yeah, it's like this huge armada was coming, and it looked just scary and ominous, heading towards the earth, and then they come down and they're going over the landscape, and a dog just bites them. They're done. It's like, wow. Yeah. I mean, why not? Why couldn't there be little ones? Why couldn't there be little, UFOs and stuff? And when people see the orbs and stuff, and like there's this great variety of sizes of orbs, like I've seen are these little 50-cent piece size or quarter size, and other people have seen them the size of basketballs and stuff. And what if those are alien? Could they have different size people in them? Maybe. Or I don't know if you say people or what do you call them, but aliens, I guess, just aliens. But
yeah, that's right.
That was a great article. I like that one.
That was really good. Actually, that brought up a question to me. If you were to go to a parallel dimension, like somehow accidentally like this, what would be the one thing you would bring back from that dimension that would be clear enough evidence to anyone that, okay, this didn't come from here? What would be the one thing you'd think of?
I don't know. I really don't know. If you could find a piece of technology that to them was mundane, but that we'd never heard of, that might be something that would indicate, look, something must be going on here. I don't know what else could. I mean, if you possibly, even if you picked up a rock, people say, well, it's just a meteorite from somewhere else. Must have come down or whatever. I mean, it would be hard to find, and no matter what you would produce, if you had pictures, that doesn't mean anything anymore because pictures are easy to hoax and even videos as well. So I don't know. I guess the only thing you could do that may sway some opinion is to bring back something that we don't currently have and haven't even thought of. Like, oh, hey, this is the kitchen machine that cooks your egg in the shell and it scrambles it and everything, makes an omelet. You just crack it open and eat. I don't know. Things like that. Just something, that's the only thing I could think of, or some maybe literature that's details of physics that we're not familiar with. I guess like a book of some kind. I don't know. That might do it too. I know that in the Betty and Barney Hill abduction, she apparently she had a much gentler time about it than Barney had. It didn't sound like he was having a good time at all from what I understand, but she actually got to the point where she was having dialogue with these aliens, and it was a telepathic thing, I guess, but at any rate, they were talking to her and explaining to her, like they showed her the Zeta Reticuli star cluster, which she had no concept of, and I don't even know if we had a concept of it at that time, because I don't think our astronomy was able to observe it with that detail, but she remembered under hypnosis the map and they explained to her the trade routes that are most commonly used between those star systems and stuff. And as she was leaving, she had seen a book and she said, "Can I keep this?" And one of the aliens said, "Yeah, go ahead. That's fine." And so they were walking out, and apparently the commander alien saw that and said, no, you can't take anything. You can't have that. No. And took it away from her. But she almost got out of there with a piece of their, a book. Whether or not it could have been read, I would imagine it's, if it's a writing, it could be deciphered eventually. So maybe there had been some really cool information in there that she would have had and been able to show, like, here, hey, I got this book, this is unusual. Yep, it really is. So
and could point information. That's probably the best thing.
Just something, I guess that could have been a newspaper. Yeah, a newspaper might be, but again, it certainly could be photoshopped and faked. But I don't know. I guess maybe a newspaper is just as valid, I guess. But yeah, I don't know. Something that would go into discussion about something maybe we don't know about, to me seems to be, that would be probably the best evidence that, yeah, you really were somewhere else. But I don't know. If it's not technology, I guess technology is probably the big thing, though. Bring back a machine we don't have.
Yeah, exactly.
That would be the most compelling proof, I think, of you really did go. But, oh, GG.
Oh my gosh, it's 3 minutes from the filming done already. Oh my God.
I know it doesn't take long, folks, because when you're in the portal, you should be having fun. If you're not having fun here, you're not doing it right. You should be having fun. I don't know. No, it doesn't matter. We only got 3 minutes, but I see that YouTube generated an error about not getting enough bandwidth. So
yeah, there was like
was there some spikes?
5 second delay. Yeah.
Oh dear. Okay. Well, sorry about that, folks. I just see it now that I closed the article that was over the top of it, so I couldn't see it at the time. Not that I can necessarily do anything about it anyway. It's just one of those things. But anyway, we're just about done with the night. Sheldon, you want to let people know how to stay in touch?
Well, the best way to stay in touch with us is through great links, great discussions. For anyone new here, you go and join.
You totally blacked out there for a minute. So you said, well, the best way to stay in touch is, and then it went black, like quiet, and then all of a sudden great discussions. So try it again.
The best way to stay in touch with us is our Discord channel. We got great links, great discussions, great threads to chat about with. You can talk to us if you want, ask questions, whatever you want to do. The link's in the chat just for you.
Amen. Now, I've been in there lately because I've been chasing some malware off my computer. It's just keeps popping up. So I've been trying to reduce the sources that I could be getting it from. So I haven't had the Discord open. But yeah, I usually have it open and chatting in there from time to time too. So it's a great community over there. And thank you, Sheldon, for all the work you did on that. And
of course.
Hopefully we'll get another Paranormal Portal Pieces video put together soon.
Yes.
Sheldon does those videos, so that's why I'm fronting him out publicly.
I got it.
Do you really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Fascinating. Fantastic. And remember, folks, we'll have the new the new podcast will be out tomorrow as well, so you can check that out. And hopefully you'll enjoy the shows as well as we do them. We do the live shows here on YouTube Wednesday, Friday, and Saturday at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So if you're available, we'd love to have you stop in and be part of the community. We, of course, love it. Good night, my sweet children. Thank you for the wonderful show. Love you all. Sweet dreams. Good night, Mom.
Good night, Nina.
Love you, love you, love you. And
Bunches.
Love you bunches. Yeah. Love you bunches. So, the podcasts come out Sunday. If you're new to the show, this is another avenue of our shows that we put out. It's not the same as YouTube though, so it's an entirely different show. But remember, we love you all. Be good, be kind, be nice, take care of each other, help each other out, find the magic in every day, and remember to laugh as much as you can. Good night.